Alright, what's up guys, this is Jake, and in this video, rather than getting into a pretty common topic on YouTube within e-commerce, telling you what to sell, what niches to get into, and things like that, I'm going to give you 5 products that you absolutely should not sell if you're just getting into dropshipping, and more importantly than that, I'm going to go ahead and elaborate on my reasoning behind this, and then I'm going to go ahead and at the end of the video, go ahead and give you 3 different types of products or different categories that you should just absolutely avoid at all costs. So these are products that you're definitely going to recognize. Maybe you were considering selling them yourself, and in this video I'm going to try and convince you otherwise. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the first product. So the first one, to probably no one's surprise, is a watch. So if you've been in the dropshipping space for more than a week, you've probably already seen plenty of people out there trying to go out there and drop ship these generic types of watches. And to be honest, this is probably the absolute worst product to get into. It's not that nobody likes watches and nobody buys watches. Of course people like watches. Of course people buy watches, and it's not that watches can't work, but it's that the barrier to entry with something like this is going to be so extremely high that your odds of actually being able to pull that off is going to be very slim. So what I mean by that is, think about it. When you are looking for a watch, you normally have a lot of brand loyalty behind it. You're normally going to go with the brand you like, the watch that kind of gives you the feeling that you're trying to, showcase to the world. Most of the time, you're not just going to buy some generic, unbranded, crappy looking watch. And not only that, the watch niche in general within dropshipping is just absolutely oversaturated. So admittedly, about 2.5 years ago, back in 2016, there were a few dropshippers out there selling watches off AliExpress, and they were actually able to do really well. And that was mainly because, one, there was a lot less competition, but two, because they actually created brands around these watches. So they weren't just sticking a random watch in a dumb general store and they're like, hey, cheap watch, buy here. I mean, why would anyone do that when the watch looks like it's the equivalent of something that came out of one of those candy grabber machines? So no one really is going to go out there and buy these watches. So it's not that watches can't be sold, but it's just going to be extremely hard, and I would highly recommend that you just avoid watches like the plague. So the next thing is going to be very similar to the watches, and that's bracelets. So bracelets are something that used to do really well in the past, but now are probably the second most common dropship product within the e-commerce space. So I'm sure that if you've been around dropshipping at all, you've seen plenty of people selling bracelets as well. And the thing is, at this point, bracelets are pretty much just as saturated as watches. Now, admittedly, they're not as bad as watches because you can kind of make a bracelet stand out a little bit easier than you can make a watch stand out. But still, it's one of those products that's just so oversaturated and so many people have done it that I would just highly recommend that you stay away from bracelets unless you have some crazy unique one that absolutely no one in the marketplace has seen. Because at this point, it's like, oh, another person selling an AliExpress watch or an AliExpress bracelet. How original. I wonder how this is going to turn out, right? Like, at some point, you have to be at least sort of original and try not to jump on trends that are 2-3 years old and that are completely oversaturated. So bracelets are going to be the second product that I would recommend you not sell. So the third one is going to be iPhone cases. So admittedly, there is going to be a caveat with this one. So what I mean is generic iPhone cases. Now, if you are doing some type of print on demand and you're selling a super unique iPhone case to, a very targeted niche, then something like that's going to be a lot easier. Or maybe you have some revolutionary iPhone case, maybe there's a super utilitarian iPhone case that has tons of different uses and functionality on AliExpress that, no one else has seen before, then possibly that would be something that might actually perform well. But if you're out there trying to sell some generic ass iPhone case like this one here, I mean, this is literally just an iPhone case. It's just a clear iPhone case, see-through, that's it. There's nothing special. There's no way in hell you're going to go out there and actually be able to sell this efficiently, especially starting out, because this product, just like the watch and the bracelet, it gives you no edge. It's just another generic product that's oversaturated, and this one is just completely boring. At least a watch or a bracelet might look cool. Most iPhone cases, unless you're doing the print on demand and very specific niche type things, iPhone cases, or any smartphone case, they're just boring. So it's definitely something you want to go ahead and avoid. So the next product we're going to get into is makeup brushes. So I guess this is going to apply more so to some of the females out there that are trying to go ahead and start stores. And I'm not trying to rain on your parade or anything, but the thing is, you don't have an audience as big as Kylie Jenner. So you're probably not going to be able to go out there and sell really cheap makeup brushes and become the next Kylie Cosmetics, because you don't have that large of an audience. The reason that she's able to sell all of these makeup brushes is because of branding, and branding alone. It's because she herself is a huge brand. A lot of people like her, and she could sell a paint brush as a makeup brush, like a $1 brush, and people would spend $20 on it because of the branding. But the thing is, you watching this video most likely do not have that level of branding, so you're not going to be able to sell such a generic product like this, because this is a type of product that you can just go and buy in Walmart or CVS or Walgreens, any of the pharmacies or major stores around you. So this is definitely something that you want to completely avoid, especially if you don't have an audience. So the last thing that I want to cover is, this example is going to be a dog t-shirt, but this is actually going to be a little bit broader than just a specific product. But this is a really good example. So a lot of times, just like the watch niche, what most people try and do is they go into the pet niche, and instead of picking like maybe a more obscure type pet, it's like, we're going straight for dogs, the most oversaturated e-commerce niche on the planet. And if you're going to do that, it doesn't mean that it's impossible to have success within the dog niche. But if you're going to just go out there and create plain old dog t-shirts, it's going to be so much harder for you to go out there and get the results you're looking for than if you went into some, if you're trying to do print on demand, if you went into some really obscure but passionate niche that isn't as saturated, and maybe you didn't just sell t-shirts, maybe you sold the more popular print on demand products right now that are newer to the market, like maybe the wall art, the canvases, maybe the necklaces with the embroidery on it, and different things like that. If you just go out there and you're like, oh, I'm going to sell dog t-shirts, I can almost guarantee you're going to fail, because it's so oversaturated, it's so competitive, that it's going to take a really highly skilled marketer to go into that marketplace and have success. And if you haven't noticed, that's pretty much the trend with all of these products. It doesn't mean that nobody's selling them. It doesn't mean that they won't work. It just means that you're going to have to be a really highly skilled marketer, and you're essentially just making it a lot harder on yourself than it has to be. So you need to go out there and find products that, are just a little bit more original, like put a little bit more thought into the product research process. Don't be like so lazy with it. There's really no other way to put it. So with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into a couple categories of products that I think you should avoid when you're selecting products. So if we come over here and I go ahead and open this up, you're going to see what I did is I put all of the products that we just took a look at, and I separated them into 3 different categories. And I think you should just really try and avoid these categories like the plague, especially if you're just starting. So the first one is going to be oversaturated products and niches. So in this case, watches, bracelets, completely oversaturated. Just don't even think about it. And then oversaturated niches such as the dog niche, especially, and the cat niche. I would completely avoid niches like this that are just completely hard to break into. There's no reason to make it harder on yourself. Look, I get it. You like your dog. Everyone who has a dog probably likes their dog, but just because you like your dog, it doesn't mean you have to make your business harder on yourself. You need to go into somewhere where you're more likely to have success. So the second category is generic, boring products. So standard iPhone cases. Like I said, I already told you the nuances with iPhone cases, how certain ones can be better than others. But in this specific case, when you see a boring product, like a standard iPhone case, maybe like a camera tripod or something, like just a typical tripod, your everyday tripod, that's boring. Don't try and drop ship these typical, boring products, because that's just not going to give you the results you're looking for. It's going to be a lot harder to break into. And the last category of products to avoid is going to be products that are essentially in every Walmart, Target, any of the big box brand name stores that you have, whatever country you're from, any products that are found in these big name stores. So that example is going to be from the makeup brushes. So every store you go into, you're going to be able to find makeup brushes. So why would you sell it on your drop shipping store? What's going to make yours so much better than them going to a trusted source inside of the store? The only reason they would buy from you is if you're someone like Kylie Jenner and they really like you. So it doesn't mean that makeup in general would be a bad niche, because there was a product that was trending a few months ago, like a zip-up makeup bag that was portable, and it would like unzip, and then you could put all your makeup stuff in it, and then it would zip up, and like it was a neat product. You can probably find it on AliExpress, and that was an example of a good drop shipping product. It was something that went out there, solved a problem that's not available in stores, and it's something that they could put all of their makeup brushes that they already have, that they already bought from Walmart or from Kylie Jenner, in that bag. So these are the 3 types of product categories I would recommend you go ahead and avoid. So I wanted to make this video a little bit different, because I find that no matter how many videos that are put out there telling people what to sell, people still end up selling this BS anyway, and I'm just going to recommend you don't do it. So with that said, if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. It helps me to go ahead and put out more content like this. And with that said, I'll see you guys in the next video.